Today I'm going to share my family's basic ingredients you can prepare within 1 hour on the weekend and how you can repurpose these prepped ingredients into delicious meals, allowing you to create far more variety throughout the week. These are all my kids' favorite but equally enjoyable for adults, and as a bonus, I'll share the tips to avoid a meal trauma with kids. Now we are starting with 2 homemade dressings. First up, we have a tofu tahini miso dressing. It's a plant-based, full of nutrition, and very flavorful. To a blender, add 100 gram of firm tofu, half cup of carrot chopped, quarter of onion chopped, half cup of apple diced, and 1 clove of garlic. If your blender is strong enough to put the whole thing, you don't need to chop the vegetable like I do. I recommend using a standing blender if you have one on your hand. And for the seasoning, the 1 teaspoon of sugar, 1.5 tablespoons of rice vinegar. You can use any vinegar you have on hand. And 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1.5 tablespoons of tahini. 1 tablespoon of miso paste. I'm using white miso. 3 tablespoons of rice oil. Any neutral oil will do. All the dishes I'm showing on this channel has a breakdown recipe on my blog. The link is on the description box below. And just blitz up everything until you reach very creamy saucy consistency. I tweak the vegetable and fruits depending on the season. Sometimes I add pear or peach instead of using apple. Swap carrot for turnip. It all comes out beautifully, so please play around with it. Try to find the dressing and sauces your kids would love is the tip number 1. It's hard to get kids eating some veggies, but with their favorite dressing, they tend to take more veggies. It's okay to have a store-bought version, but it's that easy to make your own delicious one at home. This dressing is ultra creamy, sweetness from the apple and carrot together with the nuttiness from the tahini and tofu. Miso makes an extra depth in taste overall, so just so much flavor going on. I'll show you how you can arrange this dressing into meals, so stay tuned. My second dressing is Tangy sesame Asian style dressing. This is even more simple. In a bowl, add 2 tablespoons of toasted sesame seed. Make sure it's toasted. Then just ground them until it starts to release the aroma and become sand-like consistency. At this point, add 1 tablespoon of sugar or honey if you want, then mix them again. Now for the liquid, we have 2.5 tablespoons of rice vinegar, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and 2 tablespoons of toasted sesame oil. Give it a final mix, and this is it. It's so simple but always a win in my book. I can go with any vegetable. I also have a tasty dish ideas using this dressing, so stay tuned. Next, prepare some protein. Thinly sliced ginger. And I have chicken breast strips. First, we remove the tendon by pulling out like this. Place your knife and gently slide and pull your tendon as it's supported by the knife. This step will make it easier for kids to chew. Place it into the microwave-safe container. Drizzle some shio koji, which is a salted rice mold. If you don't have a shio koji, just do half teaspoon of salt. I talk a lot more about the salted rice mold in a fermented food video. Link is on the description box. And followed by 2 tablespoons of rice wine. Shio koji and rice wine will hold the moisture of chicken as it's cooked. Place sliced ginger and green part of leek on top to reduce the meaty smell of chicken. Pop them into the microwave 600 watt for about 2 minutes. Switch the position of chicken in between so that it will be evenly cooked. Back into the microwave and cook another 2 minutes. Let it come down to the room temperature as it continues to steam and cooked inside. Meanwhile, let's make some tofu teriyaki meatball. I have a firm tofu. Place something heavy on top of it and wait for 10 minutes to remove the moisture. In 10 minutes, we're gonna chop up the veggies. Finely chop the carrot. And do the same for leek. Make a score on both sides and shred. You can use onion or scallion too. And by the way, for my vegan friends, I have a vegan version of this teriyaki tofu on my blog, so let me put the link for you in the description box below. In a bowl, I have a chicken mince, quarter teaspoon of salt, which is about a good 2 pinch of salt, followed by 1.5 tablespoon of potato starch. This is what's gonna hold the meat together. 1 teaspoon of grated ginger, and finally, firm tofu. Dig in your hand and mix them all together until it becomes pasty and sticky. And at this point, in goes carrot and leek. Mix them again, and my kids don't eat chunk of meat, so my go-to meat is always a meat mince. How about your family? This meatball is great for the bento box too. And make a small circular disc shape, and you can directly place it on the non-stick pan. Make sure to leave the space each other. And here's the tip. If you wet your palm with water or oil before you touch the meat doesn't stick to your hand and release it easily. Start cooking over mid-heat. You can grease your pan if it's needed. All of my kitchen utensils can be found on my shop page on the web. Let me leave the link for you in the description box again. Let it sit for 4 minutes or until you have a nice brown color on the bottom side. Flip, pop the lid, and steam it for another 3 minutes. My pan was too shallow to flip and ended up dropping on the floor when I flipped. So disappointing. Open the lid if the bottom side is nice and brown off the heat. Add 2 tablespoons of rice wine, 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, 3.5 tablespoons of mirin all at once. Once it comes back to a boil, cook it off over low heat until the sauce is thickened and glossy. Keep the low to mid heat since it's burnt easily. Transfer to the container and keep it in the fridge for 4 days. Because we added tofu, the texture is very light and fluffy. It is great for the toddlers, those who cannot tolerate something too chewy. I have an even more tasty recipe by repurposing it, so let me show you later. Back to the shredded chicken. Open the lid and shred them into little pieces by using 2 forks. I heard you can use a standing mixer to speed up the process. Has anyone ever tried it before? Let me know in the comment section. Keep the liquid so that it will keep the chicken tender and moist. You can keep it in the fridge for 4 days. And next up, veggies. When it comes to vegetable for kids, I keep it very simple. Just steam or blanch a couple of their favorite vegetable, which is broccoli and spinach for my case, and other seasonal vegetable. I have these beautiful snow peas for today. I'm just slowly introducing new veggies in each season, and if there is something kids would love, the vegetable will be upgraded into the staple veggie library. I used to be the one who pushed them to try all the new vegetable, but it wasn't working. Moreover, brings kids an unpleasant experience and gets even worse after all. So I've continued to introduce veggies even though they don't take. Wait patiently until they start to pick up more. My 5-year-old is doing a lot better compared to when he was 3 years old. No rush and just wait is my philosophy nowadays. Now we have the base of ingredients, so let me show you how I can arrange them into the actual meals. The first one is a chicken and veggie chirashi sushi. Slice cucumber and sprinkle some salt and massage, then leave it for 5 minutes until it's wet. Squeeze the excess moisture. And into the steamed sushi rice, drizzle sushi vinegar. Sushi vinegar contains rice vinegar, sugar, and salt. I'm showing how to make in sushi roll video. Again, the link is in the description box. Make sure that rice is steaming hot so that sushi vinegar will penetrate into the rice grain. Keep mixing it. Try not to mash the grain. If you have kids next to you, ask them to fan the rice. Getting kids involved into cooking is another tip of encourage them to eat. Once the rice cools down, squeeze the cucumber and add it into the rice, followed by some herb, the leftover meatball by chopping them into little pieces. Scoop into the serving bowl, and now it's the fun part. Prepare any fresh vegetable you have on hand. I got the bell pepper, corn from the can, edamame, nori seaweed, pickled ginger, chopped spring onion, sesame seed, and ask kids to top anything by themselves. In this way, adults can equally enjoy the meals by customizing on their own. Drizzle some teriyaki sauce if you have any. I paired it with my homemade instant miso soup, which you can find in the description box below. Next up, this vibrant crunchy salad. Into the bowl, add chopped carrot, edamame thawed out, and these frozen items and canned items are very helpful to have on hand. I'm also going to add canned corn, some snow peas chopped, chickpeas, cherry tomatoes sliced in half, broccoli. The question is, do my kids take all the vegetables? Of course not. It's my job to eat their leftovers, so it's needed to be equally enjoyable for myself as well. Dining at the table should be more than just eating. I'm hoping it should be something fun where we gather with people, talk to each other, and taste the food. In a way, kids are happy as parents. But in reality, I tend to have a meal drama with kids over vegetables. I'm sure on this channel there are so many beautiful parents up there. Let me know your tips to avoid a meal drama in the comment section so that many of you will be appreciated too. Drizzle your homemade tofu tahini dressing. Please be generous on that. Toss everything to the coat and enjoy. I serve simply with grilled cheese. This is simple enough, but it covers all the taste buds and nutrients in one bowl. You can always change up the veggie depending on your kids' preference. This dressing is something I always stock up in my fridge. Next one, chicken mackerel bowl. Make a bed of rice, add shredded chicken and drizzle sesame dressing which we made it earlier over the top. And of course you need to add a variety of toppings. I got some coriander, chopped cucumber, cherry tomato, and spinach. Again, every family member can jazz up anything they want. To me, this reminds me of Singaporean chicken rice with a little bit of tanginess to it. This mackerel bowl can be easily modified into vegan by swapping chicken for tofu. Lastly, when I'm in a pinch, my go-to is always a bowl of soup and rice. I loaded up many variety of vegetable into the soup along with some tofu and just serve it with onigiri. I sometimes ask kids to make one for me. We all struggle with what to make daily, but it should be simple and fun because it's a long time process like a marathon. And I hope you got some ideas. If you happen to make some of my recipes, tag me on Instagram, Amiwa Japanese Cooking Class. Thanks for watching and see you soon. またね, bye bye.